Welcome to the knowledge debate of the University of Groningen. My name is Tamara Slief. I'm from the University of Groningen and I'm talking to Michael Koetter. He's an expert on finance and banking, also member of the University of Groningen. And we're talking today about the IMF and the role on the financial crisis in the US. Michael, can you tell me something first? What does the IMF actually do?
In a nutshell, the IMF or the tasks of the IMF can be summarized by the two flagship publications they have. One is the World Economic Outlook, which is concerned with promoting economic development, cooperation, full employment, and things related to the realm of, say, developmental economics and growth. The second flagship publication they have is their Financial Stability Report, and this is an objective that gained increasing importance what the IMF is concerned with, namely ensuring financial stability and soundness of markets, institutions, and thus ultimately, of course, agents such as you and me taking out a loan to build a house, for example.
What's the key to get financial stability?
Well, I think in the actual limelight of the subprime lending crisis, the most important thing is to ensure and restore trust and confidence. This is what needs to be done to calm down the quite heated up atmosphere. What can the IMF contribute to this? In the short run, not too much, in my personal view. In the medium to long run, I think they can contribute something by enhancing the transparency of how financial systems work.
How transparent is the market currently, and how far are we from transparency?
On the one hand, we are much more transparent than, say, 50 years ago. On the other hand, financial systems around the world, especially in developed nations, are much more opaque simply due to the development of new financial instruments, quite complex financial structures. And to make it a bit more vivid, the actual subprime lending crisis to a large extent is due to the fact that you do not only have bad banks lending to bad lenders at bad rates or inappropriate rates, but you have multi-layer structures where these bad loans are bundled, sold off to another person, we don't know who, then sold off again to yet another institution, and thereby you get interlinkages which are almost impossible to trace down. We just don't know where the risks are. Maybe some central banks do know. The IMF certainly does not know either, in my view. So it's not vague to say, in my view at least, if the IMF would now play the advocate among these other policymakers to be a bit more sturdy on publication requirements, to be a bit more bullish on publishing also to the public who's a good bank, which is a bad bank, who's a good banker, who did well in the past. These kind of things the IMF ultimately cannot collect, but it can try to make and collect arguments with policymakers who do have the means to ensure these things, which then I think would help to ensure and increase financial stability.
Okay, so the IMF should bark harder to gain transparency, to speed up the process of getting more transparency.
To speed it up, to structure it, and they should bark at everyone, including their main sponsor, the United States.